In honor of 2021 being the 10-year anniversary of Skylanders, I thought I should do something to celebrate it, and what could be a better way to celebrate than making a quick retrospective of the game that started the entire franchise, Skylanders Spyro's Adventure. Before I start, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to let me know if you want to see more videos like this. Now, without further ado, let's get into this retrospective. I feel like a good way to start would be to explain what Skylanders is, just in case you clicked on this video out of curiosity and have no idea what it is. Skylanders is an action-adventure Toys to Life series created by Toys for Bob and published by Activision. I assume most people watching this video know what a Toys to Life game is, but just in case you don't, it's a type of game where you have figures with an NFC in them that you place onto some type of device that reads the NFC. In this case, the figures are Skylanders and the device is the Portal of Power. Once they're on the base, you can play as the Skylanders and you can switch them out whenever you want just by taking the figure off the portal and putting a new one on. Now that that's out of the way, we can get on to the plot of the game. The game starts with a character named Eon introducing us to a peaceful world known as Skylands. It's protected by the Skylanders and their Portal Masters. But he mentions that darkness is starting to spread, and Skylands needs our help. He sends us to meet with a character named Hugo. After meeting Hugo and saving some Mabu, which are pretty much the humans of this world, from a town being destroyed, Hugo tells us the story of how the darkness is spreading. He explains that Eon was the last Portal Master and that he was growing weak with age, and suddenly a dark Portal Master named Chaos invaded. Eon sent out his Skylanders to stop him, and Chaos sent out his minions. After a moment of fighting, it seemed like the Skylanders were going to win the battle. But suddenly, Chaos fired at something called the Core of Light and destroyed it, turning Eon into a spirit, unleashing the darkness, and sending the Skylanders far from Skylands and conveniently onto the store shelves for $15. Now you have to use the portal to send the Skylanders home and save Skylands from being taken over by the darkness. It's a pretty good setup for a Toys to Life game. From that moment on though, it's mostly just collecting pieces to fix the Core of Light and defeating Chaos. Of course along the way you meet characters that help like Callie and Flynn, but once we defeat Chaos, Skylands is at peace. Until the next 5 games, but that's a story for a different game. Now that you have a rough outline of the story, I think it's fair to move on to the gameplay. Being an action-adventure game, naturally most of the gameplay entails action and adventure. Most of these levels are linear, excluding the occasional one-off things like a maze or something along those lines. These levels will always include a lot of combat with puzzles and light platforming. They also feature areas that only certain elements can go into, aptly named elemental gates, but I'll talk about those more when I talk about the characters. Now, like many people, I grew up on this series, and one thing that's always bothered me was the lack of a jump button. Seeing as how jump pads exist anyways, I don't see why they couldn't just include a jump button to make it easier. Many characters have abilities to let them fly, but that doesn't actually grant them any real height, and since it's only used to cross over water, it makes the move almost completely useless in later games other than for mobility. While I'm on the topic of abilities, I should talk about the character abilities. Each character has 3 unique main abilities. That's how they justify charging you so much for a new character. All these abilities can be upgraded to make the characters better. There's also combos you can chain together if you'd like. As a kid, I had no idea these were a thing, and one time I accidentally used a combo. I was blown away by how cool it looked, but I had no idea how to do it again. Now onto the Skylanders. Skylanders Spyro's Adventure had a total of 32 Skylanders released for it, not including legendary or dark characters. These Skylanders are separated into 8 different elements: magic, fire, water, life, earth, air, tech, and undead. There was not too much of a difference between what each element played like. Most of the difference came from just how they looked and that certain elements would be more powerful in certain areas. Although every character came with a sticker and a card that would tell you their stats and backstory, which is a nice detail. Other than that, the only reason to get every element would be so you can go through all the elemental gates. These gates would only open for certain elements, and it was pretty much a little platforming area or gauntlet type of thing to get a collectible of some kind. While the Skylanders were the main collectible figures, There was also chests and power-ups that you could buy that would help out your Skylanders by protecting them or helping them deal more damage. I never owned any of these, so I don't know what they do exactly, and I didn't feel like researching it. But I also never owned any of the level expansion figures. I hear they're good, but I wouldn't know. Although they do add more to the game, which is always a win. It's never a bad thing to add more to a game. Now, I can't sit here and talk about this game like it was flawless, because like any game, it definitely has its faults. One of, if not its biggest fault, was its marketing. While it may seem harmless enough, which it mostly was, the game was titled Spyro's Adventure and features Spyro as a playable character. Of course, this led many Spyro fans to believe this was a Spyro revival, just to see it and find out that the story pretty much had nothing to do with him. It's a little sad they put such a bad taste in people's mouths before they even tried out the game, but I can't blame the fans for not liking it. Another pretty big issue that I feel like is kind of glossed over is the microtransactions. Now, with this type of game, it's pretty much unavoidable to not have microtransactions, seeing as how you can't just give people 32 figures with the price of $70. But this game did kind of set the stage for how much of the Toys to Life characters would cost for all the other Toys to Life games that would come later. And man, I don't even want to think about how much I've spent on all those characters I've gotten over the years. But at least the microtransactions made sense, I guess. And you could play the entire game with the 3 characters that came in the starter pack, although I doubt that anyone wanted to, but you could. But it's okay, because there are things that I love about this game too. Nostalgia does play a pretty big role in it, because just like a lot of people, I of course grew up on this game, and it was a huge part of my childhood, and I have way too many figures from it. I actually got this game to protest Giants coming out for some reason. I was mad that they made a sequel, but then I went on to buy 3 through 6 afterwards anyways. I don't get it, but this game to me does have a weird charm that a lot of the future games don't seem to capture. Like, I'd say the last one to get it was probably Giants, but like from Swap Force on, it feels like there's just a little thing missing, and I don't know what it is, but I just feel like it's missing. I also really like some of the levels in this game. When I played this game for the first time, that first level got me really excited for the rest of the game. Like, I was honestly blown away by how cool it looked, but I could talk about that for forever. But the music in this game is also incredibly good. And the entire series, at least to me, always had really good music. To the point that it would get stuck in my head after hearing it. I would just sit on the menu and listen to the music and it would get stuck in my head. It was that good to me. Overall, Skylanders Spyro's Adventure is a pretty decent start to a franchise with 6 mainline games, an arcade game, mobile games, and a TV show series. It tried something new, and it clearly paid off, despite having a bit of unethical marketing and a lot of microtransactions. The game was good enough and unique enough to get past its shortcomings and become a success, even though now it is not such a success. So, just like I said in the beginning, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me if you liked it in the comments. And it's my first video like this, so the feedback is definitely wanted from you. But yeah, if you liked it, just tell me. Or tell me if you didn't like it and what I could do to change it. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.